Matt, Dabassdude here, and welcome to week 3 of GearTox, where I believe all gear is a story. Now, before we begin, I just want to say Happy New Year's. I hope every one of you have been enjoying your holiday season, and with the new year comes new opportunities and comes a chance for all of us to go into the new year strong and do what we want to do. And so, for me, that means I will be pursuing more band stuff as well as creating content on this YouTube channel because this has honestly been a blast, so I'm excited to keep doing this. And that being said, seeing as it's a new year, I will be uploading my top albums of 2019 alongside week 4 of Gear Talks next week, so check for that double upload week next week. The reason why, I waited until January of the next year to make my list is because I wanted to let there be a chance for me to hear, all the potential releases that I think I might be interested in, because there could be an album that comes out in December that just blows me away. But it's also because it gives me some time to really sit with the albums, and I can really decide. So do I actually really enjoy this album and come back to it, or is it just something that I really liked when it came out and now I haven't actually really came back to it? Anyways, let's get right to Gear Talks episode 3. Alright, so in week 3 of Gear Talks, we have a slightly less extensive episode because I got busy with holiday stuff, but I still need to make sure there's a video out for you guys. So today we will be taking a quick look at the husk of a ESP LTD 256 in distressed vintage gold. And so this video is just to document the state of the guitar. As you can tell, there's absolutely no hardware or parts on it, and that's because I want to document this before I actually take the time to essentially repaint and put new hardware and electronics on this guitar. I will get into that more. But however, if this would have been stock, I will put an image of what it would have looked like stock above somewhere on the screen, just so you can kind of get a visual, so then at least you kind of look at a guitar this time. The EC256 is a really cool, budget friendly guitar, and you get a lot of bang for your buck because these guitars you can typically find from the cheapest $250 to $400 range, and you essentially get a really solid set neck guitar that you can literally play for as long as you want, and you also could use it as a mod platform. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I got this from Dan because this is one of his old guitars yet again, and he's just honestly, have at it, see what you can do with it. So this guitar features a mahogany body with a mahogany neck, and you can kind of see some of the weathering here. As you can tell, very road worn-esque, and that's what this version of the model is supposed to be. It's trying to compete with Fender's road worn models, and as you can see here, it was made in 2011. I want to clarify too, I've never refinished a guitar before, so I will likely not touch the neck and headstock whatsoever because I do not want to mess up and screw the neck over, make it unplayable, where I currently like how the neck feels. Then it also has a rosewood fingerboard with the ESP flag inlays. I honestly love those inlays. They're probably one of my favorite for the Les Paul shape. If this would have had the parts on, it would have just had the standard Grover styled ESP tuners. It would have had the standard ESP electronics with dome knobs. It would have had the ESP switch. It would have had standard Tune-O-Matic bridge. And the pickups, if I'm correct, would be ESP designed LH150s. Not much to really go off this week. Next week I will be bringing in one of my favorite basses, so I'm excited to get to that. And yeah, let's get to the stories. Alright, now for the history of this guitar. So, a very simple story. I know it's kind of funny that the first 3 weeks have all been vaguely related to my buddy Dan, but this one I can promise is the last. So this was essentially his second guitar or whatever, second or third. And so he got this from a Guitar Center because he was pretty much yo, this is your price range, find a guitar. He found this, and he like fell in love with it, so that's pretty sweet. This guitar, as well as the Gibson featured on episode 1, were very present in my like introduction to music, and this guitar was also seen as very nice. The only difference is obviously since he had the Gibson, that is definitely higher quality than this. He was a lot more comfortable like throwing this around, so I just still viewed the Gibson as like superior. So I got this guitar husk actually from Dan earlier 2019, like April, I'd like to say. Because like a year ago, I ended up getting a stupid good price on a ESP LTD EC1000. Except for the catch was I don't know what the person did, but the truss rod was completely like rounded out. There was absolutely no way to turn it or anything like that, so I just couldn't do anything with it. So I was like sick. I essentially just bought a broken guitar. However, for the price I got it at, I essentially paid for the hardware and electronics that came on the EC1000, so I wasn't completely out of luck. But then, as time went on, I was getting a little upset that I still had the electronic lying around and I had nothing to put them in. But then I remembered that Dan had this body because at the time he was actually going to repaint this. So then, because he was going to repaint this because he didn't necessarily like the like road worn look. It wasn't a bad like relic job, but it definitely didn't like look as nice as like if it would have been a nice solid coat of paint. So I get it. But I remembered he had the husk, and I'm like, yo, dude, what are the odds I could pick that up from you? He's like, I'll just drop it off. And so at that, I picked up my, I bought back my Scarlet Focusrite that I traded to him for the 5-string, and he just gave me this because he's like, it's better with you that you might do something with it than hanging on my wall. And so that's where we are now. And so the reason why I wanted to make this video, as I said, is to document it in its current state, because over the next couple months, as I find time and funds, I will be finally repainting this and upgrading this, and I figured I might as well show the before and after. So here's the before. The future of this guitar will probably, my goal is to make it look somewhat like the Lee Malia from Bring Me the Horizon's Les Paul. So I'm going to strip the finish on the top for sure and stain it brown. That's my plan. I will likely redo the back and sides, although it depends on how explorative I'm feeling that day, because as I said, I've never actually refinished a guitar before, so it's kind of scary. And so it'll have 2 EMGs in the neck, EMG hardware, the nice like Tone Pros bridge, nice switch, and then it'll have the ESP locking tuners. So I'm excited to get this done. Well, to keep with the format, let's get to the tone demos. Alright, bridge position, neck position, you know, I like it. It sounds like wood. Knock on wood that this project goes well. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. This is bad. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching GearTox episode 3. Sorry for the more, less fun episode, just because, as I said, I've been busy with the holiday season, so I didn't have much time to, pre-record or anything. But next week, I will be back at it with a video describing one of my favorite basses. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, definitely leave a like, subscribe. Check out the other videos that I've uploaded in these past 2 weeks. There's a few tone demos, there's some covers, and there's the first 2 episodes of GearTox. So this has been GearTox, where I believe all gear is a story, so I'll leave you by asking you, what's yours?